Thank you so much. Good morning, everyone. Can you guys hear me in the back? Awesome. Thank you so much. I know some of us are morning people, some are not. So like Rachel said, you only have to be a morning person today. I just want to thank you for spending your morning with me, and a special thank you to Rachel and Jepte for bringing this to Kitsap and bringing this here. This is so incredible, and thank you for having me speak. So I know some of you are still eating, but I'm going to just jump right in to having you experience stillness and calmness. If you are someone who does that best with your eyes closed, go ahead and close your eyes. If you want to keep them open, perfectly okay. This is all about you. This whole time is all about you getting what you need. So we're going to start with the breath, and that means breathing in through your nose, big exhale, pause, and a slow, relaxed exhale out your mouth. And then again, just repeating, slow, relaxed exhale in through your nose, slow, steady exhale out your mouth. What I'm going to do is, as you continue to breathe in this slow, rhythmic way, we are going to start to focus on just one body part at a time. So I'm going to ask you to direct your attention to your head and your face and your neck. And without any judgment, without any sort of what you think it should be, just simply notice what it feels like there. You might have sensations of heaviness or achiness. You might even have a little headache, especially if you're not used to getting up early in the morning. Come on in and join us. And then I would invite you to direct your attention to your chest and your shoulders. And again, just noticing any tension, noticing maybe any achiness or heaviness, and being curious about what you find there rather than judging it. As you continue to breathe in that slow, rhythmic way, direct your attention to your gut. And again, without judgment, just being curious, noticing. You may notice it feels empty, it maybe feels tight. And that's okay. You're just simply noticing. So go ahead and take one more nice, big, deep breath in through your nose, slow, relaxed exhale out your mouth. And if you're someone with eyes closed, go ahead and open them. I invite you to sit back, relax. If you're still eating, enjoy your breakfast while I share my story. So, back in the 1970s, you're like, oh my God, that's the dinosaur era. Back in the 1970s, I lived in Plymouth Park Apartments in the east side suburbs of Cleveland, Ohio. A great place to be from, yes. And so most days I love that. Most days I would let myself in our apartment. Coming home from school, I would make myself a horribly unhealthy snack, and then I would make my way down to apartment 103, where a precious little 3-year-old girl named Betsy was waiting for me to babysit her. Oh, we forgot that one. Okay, Betsy. So she was 3, and I was 9.5. By the time I turned 11, I was babysitting kids all over Plymouth Park. And by the time I turned 12, I had amassed enough families that I was watching kids from early in the morning till late at night, all summer long. When I turned 13, I had an epiphany. I could help more families and make more money if I had parents bring their kids to me. So I started a daycare out of our modest apartment. Fast forward, my junior year of college, I transferred out of BGSU, out of Ohio. You understand that? And essentially went to UNR. And my very first day on the main street of the biggest little city in the world, I landed 2 full-time jobs. but I had to choose only one because I went there to go to school full-time. So after college, then I worked 2 full-time jobs. Fast forward again, in my late 30s, by then I was living in Washington State. I was a divorced single mom with 3 little elementary school age kids. Really cute kids, by the way. And I decided to go back to school, but I also had a retail business. And so I hired a nanny to help with the kids, and I took on an hour-and-a-half commute. It was a busy time. My whole life experience taught me to be busy, to be productive, to make things happen, to go, go, go. But one thing it did not teach me was to stop, or pause, or breathe, or rest, or recreate. I didn't learn these things. I didn't have a thought about any of that. I didn't have any modeling for it either. No one showed me what that looked like. I wish I would have known then what I know now. I wish when my kids were little, I would have known that if I didn't get the laundry done, but I read to them, that would be okay. But instead, in that season of my life, I felt like I was just on a rat wheel, just constantly doing too much and feeling like I was never doing enough. I felt pulled and pushed and stressed. Like me, many of you got messages growing up. Maybe your messages were go, go, go. Maybe they were hustle to make things happen. Maybe you got messages like no rest for the weary. This one wasn't supposed to be there, but you know, sometimes it's like you just go, go, go. And these messages are often what is driving us. And we find ourselves clipping at a pace. Now, your family of origin messaging might not be the only reason that you're living this go, go, go life. It may be that you have a busy, busy brain. You need a lot of extra creative outlets. You need that stimuli, and that's driving you as well. Now, look, that's fantastic as long as you are choosing it. But if you are on that trajectory because you feel compelled, then that's something to pay attention to. Because the reality is it's a problem when it's like we're being driven by a motor attached to a vehicle that someone else is driving, that we tend to crash and burn. So if you find yourself in that kind of hustle space and you don't ever question that, if you just keep hustling along and you don't stop to think about that, you may find that you're not even present in your very own life. And worse yet, you may find that you're spending so many minutes of your life sick and stressed and overwhelmed. That's not how we want to go, right? That doesn't make sense. So my daughter and I were talking about this recently. She's an MMA fighter. She's the one where you can see her face. I don't know. It's hard to tell if we look alike in that particular setting. And so we were talking about this idea of like rest and restoration, and she shared with me that after a really hard workout, her head coach will not ask about how did the workout go, but he will ask about what she's going to do for rest and restoration. So like many athletes, she goes through a period of what's called deloading, gradually decreasing the intensity of her workouts to give her body a rest. And then she tells me that on Sundays, she does absolutely nothing. So if you want to hang out with Loren, don't ask her to do anything on a Sunday. That is her day to be calm and quiet and still and rejuvenate. And whether you're an athlete or not, isn't that just prudent for all of us? Because if we're going to be well, really well, feeling and functioning optimally, Not only do we need to be aware of our family of origin messages that we're operating from, not only do we need to be aware of like, oh, I've got a really busy brain and that sort of drives me, but we also need to know how each one of us is uniquely designed so that we can know more about how our own brain works. And then we can navigate our life in ways that are in alignment with that. And we can learn to bring in more of what helps us thrive. And sometimes what helps us thrive is learning to do, ready, drum roll? Thank you, I love participation. Doing absolutely nothing, or doing something for the fun of it, or doing something for the pure relaxation of it. And here's the kicker, doing that without any guilt, feeling good about it, not having that big, loud, blaring should voice. Do you know the voice I'm talking about? When you think about taking a rest and that voice is like, oh, but look at those 20 things you still have on your to-do list. Like, you can't rest, you can't stop, right? That should voice screams at us what we should be doing. And why is that voice there? Sometimes it's our family of origin messages that are so deeply rooted that we feel guilt and shame when we do not adhere to them. Case in point, my former father-in-law, just a beautiful man, he's in his 80s, he's been running businesses like his whole life. And we were on a family hike a few years ago, and we were talking about some of this, and he said, Lesli, I got a message when I was just a little guy, and it was from my dad. And I was like, oh, you know, what was the message? And he said, the message I heard over and over and over again, if you are not moving, that means you are lazy. If you are not moving, that means you are lazy. Wow! And this little guy, he took that message to heart. So then he grew up, became an adult, started running businesses, and guess what? The man never took a family vacation. He didn't see his kids when they were growing up. And it's only been in recent years that he's actually started to slow down a little and start to give himself permission to travel and enjoy his life. That's how impactful these messages are. If you are someone that's ready to say, I want to do this a little bit differently, then it's not too late and it's not too soon. You can cultivate some new habits. And the best way I know for you to do this is to increase your self-awareness. And the best way I know to begin to increase your self-awareness is to take something I call cave time. Now, cave time is something I recommend people do both at home and at work. And while it is very simple, it's not necessarily easy. Because here's what it involves. You have to find safe space with no people. And you unplug. No iPhone, no computer, no distractions, no dings, sign on the door, cave time in progress. Kind of like that one. It's necessary. It quiets the noise. Now, not only is that helpful, but it allows you to control your external environment. Now let's talk about controlling your internal environment. And that brings us back to that fun breathing and noticing exercise we did in the beginning of our time. So now we're going to do that again in a little bit more detail, because the idea is I want you to have something tangible that you can begin to practice starting today when you leave this beautiful place. And so the idea here is to start taking doing body scans. And you can read some of the benefits here, but suffice it to say, body scans allow us to cultivate the art of internal listening. that we can begin to notice things inside of ourselves that we would ordinarily miss otherwise. And the beautiful thing is when we start paying attention to those somatic clues that our body gives us, and we start paying attention to that inner voice, then we have the opportunity to sort of intervene as needed. That's how we learn to self-manage well. Managing our stress, learning more calmness. So if you're still eating, I would invite you to take a break, feet flat on the floor. I'm going to do this at a faster clip just because I'm pressed for time. But this time we're going to start at your feet, so get the breathing going in through your nose. Slow, relaxed exhale out your mouth. Get in the rhythm of that. If you closed your eyes, I asked you to do that prematurely. Open them for just literally 10 seconds. And what we're also going to do is something called bilateral stimulation. So we're going to add in one more thing that's going to help bring in more calm. So I invite you to give yourself a nice hug. We call this a butterfly hug. And you're going to begin in kind of a slow, dripping faucet kind of pace to simply tap your shoulders as you continue to breathe. And then listen to the sound of my voice. Now, if you want to close your eyes, go ahead. We're going to start at your feet, and I'm going to ask you to simply notice your feet. Do they feel heavy? Do they feel achy? And again, without any judgment, just curiosity, simply about what you notice. Then I would invite you to move your attention to your legs and see what you notice there. Your right leg may feel completely different from your left leg, and that's okay. There's no right or wrong here. And then move your focus and attention to your gut. Now, you may even be surprised to find that you may have images that come up. You may even see colors. Why? Because we now know of the incredible, amazing gut-brain axis. The connection between our gut and our brain is profound. We now know that there's neurons, brain cells in our gut. There's neurochemicals like serotonin in our gut. So things like depression, anxiety, mood are all affected by this gut-brain connection. And then I would invite you to direct your attention to your shoulders, arms, hands, noticing tingling, numbness, heaviness, and you might even rate this on a 1 to 10 scale, with 10 being like the most tense or the most stressed. And then bringing your attention to your neck, your face, and your head as you continue to breathe and tap. And just seeing what's there, just being a curious observer with no judgment, just noticing the somatic clues that your body is giving you. I would invite you to take your last round of deep breath in through your nose, exhale out your mouth, and eyes open and back up here. Okay, so it's incredible to me that something that seems so simple would be so difficult for so many people. And a lot of that is because of our messaging, our modeling, our conditioning, and our culture. It's really tough stuff. So I'm gonna shorten this last part. Not only is your health and well-being at stake, but so is your creativity and your ability to be productive. And what I mean by that is learning to take these pauses and these body scans can help you be so much more creative, because contrary to my upbringing to go, 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 I now know that it's the slowing down, it's having fun, it's being playful and playing. And the more I do that, the more creative I am, and the more possibilities I see, and the more I can visualize things that are not yet birthed into existence. So while it's true that I have 4 businesses, there's a major shift. I take time to pause and breathe every single day. I will tell you, I've had the pleasure of working with hundreds and hundreds of clients, coaching and consulting, helping them learn more about their family of origin messaging, helping them to question their thoughts, helping them to be on that journey of improving their health and their business and their well-being, and they report having more joy and getting more done in less time with less stress. And ladies and gentlemen, I want that for all of you. So if you've been just cruising along on the autopilot of previous messaging, I want to encourage you to make your health and well-being a priority, and I want to encourage you to bring in more moments of calmness and of stillness, because that is a movement worth pursuing. Thank you so much, and I will take your questions at this point. Who has a question? Oh, and you know what? While we're doing that, so you can look at just some quick ideas that I will keep up during most of the Q&A. My millennial kids were really great about, like, Mom, we kind of know what to do. It's just we're not good at sort of doing it. But I thought just giving you some extra ideas, like, you know, chasing rainbows and things that you might not think of on your own. Who has a question? Yes?
What's havening?
Oh my gosh, God bless you. So thank you for asking. I was like, I hope someone sees that. So havening is, I'm just gonna show you while I'm talking about it. Havening is this thing that you can do. It's all about movement. There's YouTube videos. The first step of havening looks like this. It helps us feel calm. It's great for people who have anxiety or even depression, or if you're feeling stressed about a project or a presentation. The second step looks just like this. It's a series of continuous movements that you combine with your breath. The third movement kind of goes like this, and then the last one is like washing your hands. And so the beauty of it is, like, you can do it anytime, anywhere. You know, if you're on your way home from work or something, you can pull the car over and do some havening, or even some bilateral tapping and breathing before you walk into your next situation. Thank you for asking. Rachel, oh.
I was kind of just curious on what your thoughts are with unplugging when we have so many like apps and resources that are supposed to help us find calm or meditate.
Yeah, so I don't see it as a one or the other. I think it's about finding that balance and finding specifically what works best for you, because we all have that uniquely designed brain. So it doesn't have to be this black and white all or nothing thing, but taking some moments where there's no phone, no app, nothing, it can be really hard for some people. So learning to practice that, the discomfort of being really still. So I think it's both. Claire?
With the cave time, how long do you typically do cave time for?
Yeah, I love that question. You're like, is 2 minutes of cave time enough? And so I tell clients oftentimes, especially if I know they are that person that's been on that go, go, go track, start with 5 minutes, because then it feels more manageable. It doesn't feel like, oh, I gotta go do this cave time. Like, it's this one more thing on my list. And what I love about cave time, thank you for asking, what I love about cave time is almost all my clients they kind of do the now you want me to take cave time, right? And it kind of starts like that, and then within like 3 days they're like, oh my gosh, I started at 5 minutes and now I'm up to 15 and now I'm doing 20. And it's like this beautiful part of their day where, you know, no one's like yanking on them, and, you know, there's no kids, no partner, no employer, no employees. It just gets to be your time. So start small and then increase it incrementally as you're able. Great question. Anyone else? Yes?
Well, you pretty much summed up the journey I've been on the last 3 years, forced to learn all of these lessons, which is, I felt I was about to be like, preach it, like so many times. It's so spot on for my own life, so thank you. Can you talk a little bit more about the busy mind or people with actual ADHD.
Yes.
That sort of side of it.
The neurospicy side. So when we talk about the neurospicy side, or the technical term neurodiverse, yes, it's often people with ADD, ADHD, autism. There's a much longer list, but we don't have time for it. And thank you for sharing that, because I know you're not alone. I have so many clients. I know you are not alone. So there's a lot of things people can do for a really busy brain, and they don't all have to involve pharmaceutical interventions. At my level of credentialing, I'm a certified counselor, so I cannot diagnose and I couldn't prescribe meds even if I wanted to. And look, for some people, the meds work some of the time for some of the people, but there's such an enormous sort of toolbox of other things that people with busy brains can be doing. There's a lot of behavioral things. There's dietary changes. There's things like even hyperbaric oxygen treatment. I mean, the list just goes on and on and on. Mindfulness practices. There's so many things that people can do to work with the brain they have to optimize its function. So I would encourage you and if this applies to any of you, be open-minded and curious, because oftentimes people go to psychologists and psychiatrists and they get diagnosed, and within 30 seconds, here's your script for these meds, and there's so many other options available besides that or in place of that, if you'll just be curious and do some research and seek that out. Does that answer your question? Yeah. Perfect. Do we have time for any more? Do we have any more? Thank you, because she knows I love to hear her talk. So talk nice and slow and really loud.
So I have a 4-year-old at home who, if I'm at home and she's at home, like there's no separating us, right? She's wanting mummy time
Yes.
all the time.
Yes.
So how do you find time to do this, the calm, the mood, the stillness, when you have so much energy coming at you?
I love this question. Anyone else here have kids? Okay, so you get this question. I love this question. So the short answer, one, it's going to be so important to do those physical activities with a 4-year-old, getting outside, running, skipping, jumping, hiking, and getting a whole bunch of that energy out. But the other is you can teach a 4-year-old how to deep breathe. You can teach a 4-year-old how to bilaterally tap. And you can teach a 4-year-old what cave time means and what it looks like. And that could be maybe even a time where she sits down with like a coloring book, right? And so you guys can actually practice deep breathing and tapping together. You can teach her havening. It is so beautiful when parents teach their kids these beautiful life skills. And then then it's an easy segue to be like, okay, now mommy's going to take my cave time, set a timer so she can see the clock and that the timer's going, or the phone, and let her know when the alarm goes off, then mommy's done with her cave time and we can come back together and have some fun.